All right, we're live. Hello, everyone,
Hey, everybody.
and welcome to the 6 Degrees of Feature Film Podcast. I'm Frodo, also known as Miss Movies, also known as Brienne.
And I'm Samwise Gamgee,
Sure.
StacyOHoward. Oh my gosh, we have a guest today.
Special guest, Ashley Victoria Robinson.
He's
Oh,
the
you can
best.
have it.
And I could just eat the whole time, and it's no
Yes.
big deal.
11C's dinner, supper.
Oh,
Don't
man.
think he knows about second characters. Thank you so much for having me, ladies.
Yeah, we're very excited that you're here. I love your podcast, Geek History Lesson. I just listened to it yesterday because, as we know, Deathstroke is going to be potentially in the next Batman movie.
Ooh.
And so I was like, who's Deathstroke? What's Deathstroke all about? Because, I don't read comic books, but I listen to your show for the comic book Cliff
Mhm.
Notes, which is a great place to find comic book Cliff Notes. And that's on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher. There's also a
Everywhere your
Patreon
fine
for it.
podcast can be found.
Exactly.
That's one of our early episodes, though, so I'm a little bit
Yes.
embarrassed about what it might have been like.
It was great. It was your third episode. So yeah, I learned about Slade Wilson and his wife. And his
many
eye
children.
patch.
Yeah.
Like why he has an eye patch. So I'm not going to tell you guys. So you can go back and listen to that lesson and find out why he has an eye patch and where he got that from.
Okay.
I know you were hoping that it came from Arrow,
I was from Oliver
but
Queen.
yes, but it did
that's
not.
incorrect.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is 6 Degrees of Feature Film. Thank you so much for joining us. What we do on this show is we take one film, our feature film, and we show how 6 other films link up to it in some way, shape, or form. And it can be completely random, such as movies that have elevator scenes, like things
Movies
like
with
that.
marching bands.
Yeah, we get crazy.
Yeah.
So today we are doing, as our feature film, we are doing The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. And this was brought to us, as we know, normally when we have a guest, the guest brings us the feature film, says, hey, here's a list of films that I like. Let's talk about them. And this was on that list. So I'm going to have, while I try to bring up the chat so we can kind of interact with people, I'm going to have Ashley go ahead and tell us why she selected The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King.
Please.
Well, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King is my favorite movie of all time.
Cool.
So I was really excited when you guys picked it. When I was but a tiny human child, Lord of the Rings was coming out. And I really liked all the characters that had to do with Gondor. I like Aragorn and Faramir and Pippin, like they're my jam. And Return of the King for all of those characters is really the culmination of who they are. And it's the birth of a new age of Middle Earth, which is totally badass.
Nice, nice.
And then somebody very close to me gave me Aragorn's Anduril sword for my birthday this year.
Oh
It's
my
like the coolest thing I own.
Whoa!
So that's one of the reasons why I picked it, and everybody seemed really on board with it, which was really lucky for me. Plus, it's got one of the coolest fight scenes. Like, I know everybody loves the Helm's Deep fight scene, but don't you want to see Legolas scale an Oliphant? Like,
Yeah, come on. It's just sliding on down, landing right in front of Gimli. It still only counts as one. It's perfect.
Yeah. There's so many great jokes that carry on all the way through that as well, which for fantasy is not something that you necessarily expect.
Right, exactly.
Hello, chat room.
Hello, everyone.
Hey,
We're
hey,
here.
all 4 of you. Thanks for
I
joining us.
Agree with everything that you just said about why you love it. I remember these movies were something that me and my older brother bonded over. Like I talk about a lot. Me and him don't have a lot in common personality wise and, friends wise, anything like that. He is 4 years older, never went to school together, anything, but movies were what we bonded over. And these movies, especially, he took me specifically to see The Fellowship of the Ring when I was like 11 years old because he met in 2001. They started filming obviously when I was like 9 years old, but I remember us reading about it in like, News Weekly or whatever, and him be like, oh, I love these books. They're making a film. Sis, we got to go see it. And we did. And we saw all the movies together and we dragged our dad along who hates the movies because he thinks they're too long and he has to pee like 5 times in the middle of it. I have a good story about him like losing his shit in the first movie because he was like, didn't understand that it was a 3-part thing. And so he thought that it was going to be, beginning, middle, and end and know what happens. And he's like, I can't believe I have to go back to the theater and see these movies.
It's like, there's no closed loop. Why?
Yeah, there's no closed loop. He was like, what? So anyway, but yeah, these movies were a big part of my childhood. They're still a big part of my life. I always rewatch them. But then whenever we separate them, like we've talked about the Two Towers, we talked about the Fellowship, every time I try, and it's always confusing about what happens in each one because I always watch them together, and then I'm like, is that the one where they have this scene? Like I'll always forget kind of separately which moments are in each movie. So I need to rewatch Return of the King like soon, like really, really soon, and have a marathon. But
Nice.
It's 3.5 hours. Is it the longest one?
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for sure,
That ending continues and continues and continues.
it keeps going.
Which is
Don't fade to black.
I know, I'm like, wait,
Have
is it coming
you-
back again? Wait a minute.
Wait. Have you seen Elijah Wood's interview with someone, and he was saying how Jack Nicholson took him aside like backstage at some award show and was like, what happened with that last one?
Oh my
like
God,
he didn't
really?
stay for the end. He was like, I couldn't stay. There was like one thing, and then I
couldn't
just left. So
stay.
what happened, kid?
I
Like
wonder if that was at the Oscars because Return of the
Maybe.
King won 11 Oscars.
it won all 11 that it was
Yes.
nominated for.
Incredible.
crazy.
How is that possible? Has that ever been done before or
Titanic
after?
tied it. They both have 11 Oscars,
That's
but
right.
the franchise has 13. So Lord of the Rings is the most successful film franchise of all time as far as Oscars go.
That's right. It's
Nice.
been nominated more than the Godfather trilogy
Mm-hmm.
and Star Wars, because Godfather is like at 21, Star Wars is 20, and then Lord of the Rings is 30. I think nominations for Oscars. That's insane.
That's how you know it's a good movie.
Yeah. That's how you know it's the best, baby. Absolutely. Who's your favorite character from the Lord of
Yeah.
the Rings?
Definitely Aragorn. I mean, it's your classic hero's journey. Viggo Mortensen was really hot.
He
Yes.
still is. Oh my gosh, he's gorgeous.
Did you see Captain Fantastic?
No, I need to though.
Still a good looking man.
Nice.
And yeah, I like that he is basically responsible for uniting not only the races of elves and men, but basically the whole world. Like that's pretty epic. You can't do better than that.
That's very true. And
Yes.
have you ever watched I'm sure you have, but it's like Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Cast. And it's like all the behind the scenes. And they were talking about how Viggo Mortensen truly is very similar to Aragorn in that he is a leader of men and he's incredibly smart and artistic and kind of would organize little get-togethers and like let's all go camp out. And he was the one that would kind of instigate any kind of bonding experience they had. So I liked that. I liked that he's very similar to his character in real life.
Yeah, it's cool.
What about your favorite character, Stacy?
Gimli? Come on. Come on. I love it. I love me a dwarf. And then he's so funny. And
He is funny.
Him and Legolas's relationship is really sweet and cute. And I like that that's kind of the humor, that little string of hope, that string of light throughout the movies is their kind of competitiveness, but also respect for each other. I think that's really fun. So for sure. And then I liked that in The Hobbit, they brought it back and he's like, it's my wee lad Gimli. And I'm like, I like screamed in the theater. I was so excited he said that. So that was great.
Aw.
What's yours?
My favorite is obviously Frodo. As you know, since I dated Elijah Wood, he's my favorite. That's our ongoing joke.
She
on
really
this
did
show.
almost go on a date with Elijah Wood.
This is our ongoing
but
joke.
then he had a dog costume on and you were like, hard pass.
You're like, what is happening?
It's like, I don't know.
I would have still done it. I would have been like, I can ignore the dog costume for now.
Oh, I know
It's Elijah Wood.
Jason Inman met him, so you're like
We are
Oh,
all
yeah.
6 degrees.
I know. Yeah. It's like we almost touched. It's like we almost made out with him. So close, yet so far away. No
One
worries.
tangent that I went on when I was researching for this film was sci-fi versus fantasy. Like what qualifies as a sci-fi film and what qualifies as a fantasy film, and why are some things listed as sci-fi fantasy? So I did a little research and turns out there's quite a few different like sub genres within each thing. So sci-fi is its own and fantasy is its own. And here's the different ones. We have speculative fiction, which would be like 1984, Brave New World. We have cyberpunk, which would be neuroromancer, if I said that right.
Yeah.
And I think Snowpiercer would actually kind of fall in that too.
What's
people-
neuromancer?
Neuromancer is like it's a book and it's a look at the future where it's usually where technology integrates with biology. So like something like a Borg would be like more even though Star Trek is more like speculative fiction technically. A lot of people consider Blade Runner too to be like right on the cusp of that, where it's like you're using technology in your organic form and you're like kind of badass about it. So you're a cyberpunk.
Oh, okay.
They're all
Okay.
very like loose definitions, so
Mhm.
all my understanding of it is like so cursory.
Mine
Yeah.
is I have a very simple separation in my mind of what's
Well,
the
I still
difference.
have
don't
some
know.
more
Oh, sorry,
subcategories.
sorry.
So
Sorry, please
let me go through
continue,
those.
please continue.
Military science fiction, such as Starship Troopers,
Okay.
space opera, Star Trek,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and parallel or alternate universe, such as Stranger Things, if we are to do that.
Oh,
And
nice,
Fringe.
nice, okay.
And then there's fantasy, which has its own subgenres as well. Epic fantasy would be Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
Court intrigue would be The Three Musketeers,
Yeah.
A Song of Ice and Fire. Historical fantasy, I don't know if Inglorious Bastards would fit in that, but it's not really
I
fantasy
think that,
fantasy.
or like the Arthurian legends would fit in that
Mhm.
because like it is based on an actual event, but it's obviously like Merlin wasn't real, guys. I'm really sorry.
Dang.
Spoiler alert.
Mhm.
And then contemporary fantasy, like more modern day. I was thinking maybe Harry Potter would be
Mhm.
more contemporary
Maybe, yeah,
fantasy.
yeah.
Urban fantasy, A Winter's Tale falls under that.
Mhm.
And
A Winter's Tale.
then there's science fantasy.
I hate that. Or when people are like, it's sci-fi fantasy. I'm like, it's not.
Yeah, and that's
What?
Dragon Rider series would fall under that.
Oh, is
for
that,
some
is that
reason.
Aragon? Is that the same thing?
I think so, but I don't know. Anyways, I'm
I
not
don't know
sure.
about that one.
I do want to say hey to Geek Furious, who is in the chat, and Randall Sands. So
Yay!
thanks for joining us. We can't always read your long, lengthy paragraphs of comments, but we can kind
We
of
love
glance
them,
at
and we
them.
read them later.
Yes.
appreciate
Live
them.
in the show. It's hard.
Correct.
Corrective
thank
lenses,
you.
they're a hell of a thing.
Yes.
But let's see real quick. Geek Furious does say historical fantasy is technically a Song of Ice and Fire too, since George R. Martin based so much of that on our history.
Yeah, and
So
there
thank you
is
for
that fan theory that it is supposed to be our world, but it's
Mhm.
like Atlantis, like it's a fallen world or something like that. So
Okay, gotcha.
there you go.
For me, and I have a very, watered down, simple explanation and separation in my mind. And I'm sure this is incorrect, but the way I separate it is science fiction is it's set in our world that we know, the real world, but science and technology has advanced so far that we're doing things we could never do now. And then fantasy is a completely separate realm, completely separate world that does not exist that we could never kind of wrap our brains around besides seeing it on screen or in a novel. And they completely create creatures and worlds and characters and ways of life that we would never recognize here. So that's how I separate. Like one is like real life, but it's sciencey and
Mhm.
technology, and then another is like it's just completely made up. That's probably
Right.
not correct, but that's
That sounds
what
right.
how I kind of separate those two. Which I don't know.
I think
it's very
whatever works for
simplistic, I
you
know.
is like the best way to demarcate that. Like for me, a
Mhm.
lot of it is the way things are explained. Like, yeah, Jedi's are basically wizards.
Mhm.
They're space wizards and witches, but
Mhm.
you're given like this is their code of conduct, this is their religious structure, this is the training regimen. So anything that has an actual like pseudo science to it, I consider science fiction. Whereas in Lord of the Rings, it's like, nope, it's magic.
Yeah.
That's a wizard.
No,
Yeah.
it's
Go
fine.
for
it's
it.
fine.
We
Yeah.
have horses. So
Right.
Mhm.
like for me,
Eagles.
Game of Thrones for me falls under more of a fantasy.
Mhm.
Whereas I know like some people are like, but science fantasy or historical fantasy. I'm just like, I just call it all fantasy.
Mhm. Gotcha.
How
Gotcha.
about
Because
you?
the same thing with like Star Trek, that kind of straddles the line
Mhm.
because there is some fantastical parts of Star Trek, but there's more science than
Mhm.
there is fantasy to it in
And
my
they've
mind.
predicted so many things accurately. Like they had iPads in TNG. They just had a bunch of them instead of one with a lot of storage.
Right.
Now, did they predict that or did they like create that and then someone was like, hey, I'm
Yeah,
going to
touch
just do
things.
that?
Either way, maybe it's a paradoxical, like Marty
Maybe.
McFly.
There we go.
Yeah,
Now, there
exactly.
is a series that you have on YouTube that's Star Trek related.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
I did a Star Trek parody web series called The Red Shirt Diaries. It is 2 seasons, 30 episodes long. It goes through the whole first 31 episodes, whole first season of Star Trek the original series, and then a mock time, which is the jumping off point for season 2. And I play Ensign Williams, who is the youngest ensign on the Enterprise, and it's like my video logs about Kirk's crazy and there's a space monster in
Wow.
it. And if you know Jason Inman, who has been on this podcast before, he
Mhm.
plays Captain Kirk and about 9 other people.
Right. He
'Cause
does
he
some
was
good impressions.
Always around. Cast your friends.
That sounds amazing. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I
It's super
knew
fun.
about it, but I haven't watched it yet. So I'm going to have to catch up
It's
on
now,
it.
now
good.
you have to before the next
Mhm.
time I'm on.
Yeah,
Or it'll be
for
really
sure.
embarrassing.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to be like totally lost and not able to keep up with the conversation.
I've
so.
seen the first season, so I need to see
Okay.
the second
There you
season.
go.
What I wanted to make sure that I waited until the entire second season was out
Yeah.
so I could watch it all. rather than be
Gotcha.
like, I gotta wait a week.
20
I
weeks
gotta
too
wait a
is
week.
It's a long time. Let me tell you.
Yes. And you had other people like Scott Mance, right? Was
We
he
did.
on?
Scott Mance
Okay.
came on. He
Whoa.
actually, speaking of alternate versions, we're like blipping to other universes, and he comes on. And May or May Not Kill Me. Tiffany Smith is on. Hal Rudnick, Nick Mundy. Oh my God, I'm gonna forget someone.
John
really
Roca.
important. John Roca, and he's several voices. Yeah, we had a lot of cool people from the
Nice.
internet.
Season 3,
Never
Brienne,
gonna-
Stacy. We're gonna be there.
Well, now the fan film rules came down
Yeah.
from CBS on High.
Mhm.
So no, we can do a Star Wars one.
Oh, what?
Calling it
What
right
are we
now.
gonna? What would we play?
I don't know.
Twins?
Oh
Sure.
my God, you guys should.
Siamese alien twins.
Yeah,
How
we
about
attach-
that?
together at the hip, attach to the hip.
Mhm,
Attach at the
mhm.
antenna so that you have
Oh
a little more
yeah.
mobility.
So we have to lean a little bit. Work on your lean. Okay.
Okay.
We'll put a little stick. And we'll just edit it out and post
Oh my
later.
God, that'd be
Awesome.
so great.
That would be great. Gotta work on my acting skills. How's my mark?
Now, before we move on to our next films that we're going to talk about, is there any last things we want to say about Lord of the Rings? Any fun trivia? I know you and I both kind of looked up some fun trivia. Did you want to share any?
I looked up a few things which I thought were great. The whole scene with Billy Boyd singing came about because one of the producers went to karaoke with him and noticed he had a great voice, and they pulled. And I know in the book it mentions that he someone asks him to sing, and so Billy Boyd made up the tune and the lyrics. I think it like wrote the song for the movie, which I thought that was pretty cool.
Andy sings the song in the credits to the final Hobbit movie, which I
Yes.
don't recommend
Hmm.
seeing, but I recommend listening to the song.
Yeah. Don't like the Hobbit movies, but love the Lord of the Rings. Oh, and then a lot of the extras from the Battle at Black Deep were part of the New Zealand Army, and they were incredibly enthusiastic and would constantly like break the wooden swords and all the props because they were like seriously fighting, and they
Right.
were just really into it, which sounds like a fun time. Imagine being like an extra of an army, but it's a real
Right.
army. And like,
Well, it's
they're
kind of like
very
in
intense.
Braveheart, they did something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yeah.
too, and they were like really fighting
Oh, I
each
didn't know
other,
that.
like against each other.
And can you imagine trying to do that for like 38 takes? And the
I
director's
can't.
like, calm
Everyone chill. This
Yeah.
isn't real.
down. All the
war.
swords
Can
are
you
made of
ima-
aluminum. Don't
That-
hit that
yeah.
hard.
Then you're like
gotta
the
make
guy
more.
that's in charge of the extras, and you're like
Guys,
trying to keep
guys.
everyone away from each other.
Please, we can't kill anyone.
Yeah, I've told you again and again, stop decapitating people.
Mhm,
It's in
mhm.
the workers' comp is a nightmare on this,
Can you
guys.
imagine the insurance on that?
Oh,
though?
I can't. I really, really can't. Let's see. What was the
Oh,
other
and
one I
Viggo
really liked?
Mortensen thinks that he killed every stuntman at least 50 times or
That's right.
more.
That's
So
amazing.
that makes
Mhm.
sense. There's a
And then
lot
just, like,
going
Come
on.
back.
You know, just keep
Uh,
coming.
Both Elijah Wood and Andy Serkis received rings as their parting gift for the film, and both thought that they had the only one. So each one was like, I got the one ring, and the other one's like, no,
Psych.
I have the one ring. So
I do know
thought
too
was
that
funny.
Ian McKellen stole things from the set.
Oh, I
Because
can picture
he
it.
says that in the extra credits. He's like, yeah, they always give you something. He's like, but I take what I want.
Nice. Oh, that's. I wonder what he stole.
I know. I don't
Oh.
think he's ever.
I think he
revealed
should
it.
have his staff.
Yeah.
I would have stolen that. I mean,
Mhm.
they've got to have. I don't understand the whole don't
gotta
steal
had
from
so
set thing.
many.
Give so many props, just like it's yours. Take it, it's yours.
Take it.
Come on.
It's probably just one of those things where he's like, I don't ask for permission, I ask for
forgiveness.
forgiveness.
Yeah.
It's my
Which is
favorite
actually a
saying,
good
too.
tip, everyone.
Yeah.
It's better to ask for
Forgiveness
forgiveness than
than
for
ask for
permission.
That's
hmm
what my grandma taught me.
Don't tell that
She's a
to
rebel.
my kids.
Too
that
bad
is-
I already
that's
taught
true.
them that.
So we're going to move on now to our link. And what I chose for this link is historical or mythological worlds in a movie. So, The Lord of the Rings takes place in a mythological world. I tried to make it a little easy
Mhm.
to link to our next film. And now we're going to move to The Wizard of Oz, which came out August
Yay!
25th, 1939. I have a feeling I don't need to give the synopsis to this film because I
Yeah.
am assuming our audience, I love you, audience, and you guys are great and you know a lot about film. You know The Wizard of Oz. So we're just going to get right into it. Judy Garland as Dorothy, Frank Morgan as the Wizard, Ray Bolger as the Scarecrow, Burt Lair, Jack Haley, Billy Burke, Margaret Hamilton. Margaret Hamilton is amazing as the Wicked Witch, by
Oh
the
my
way.
God.
She's incredible.
They said there were so many takes that were so terrifying that they had to cut them
Yeah.
out because they
Yeah.
would have gotten a higher rating and they were like, or maybe I don't know if they had ratings at that time, but they would have scared kids.
That's so funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Is their reasoning for deciding to cut a lot of her scenes? I was like, she is terrifying.
Well, she was a big fan
Awesome.
of the book and
Right.
was absolutely ecstatic to get a part in it. And I think someone called her manager, and then her manager called her and was like, "Hey, you have a part in the new Wizard of Oz." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, yeah! What part is it?" And she's like, "The witch, of course." Like, I guess
Of
just 'cause of
course.
her face or her personality, maybe. It was
Yeah,
just
I know
like,
she
obviously
played a
she's the
lot
witch.
of villainesses.
She did, and
Mhm.
she's fantastic at it. She's
Mhm.
probably a lovely person.
That's what it
but
said.
she's,
It was Judy Garland that was like, it was kind of hard because she's so nice when the cameras weren't rolling that you're like, oh, she's not really that evil.
yeah, she's not that bad.
I guess I have to do some acting now, you know. This did win an Oscar for Best Original Song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. There was this joke I heard once in like theater school about like creating Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and the guy that was composing it like could not get to one of the parts. He like was stuck, and he had this like I don't know, something like he had an emergency and the ambulance was coming.
Oh no!
And so it was like do 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 do, and then he finally like figured out what he was gonna do for like the next part of the song because of those sirens.
That's so crazy.
So that's just some joke. I don't know if that's actually true, but something I heard in theater school, and I don't even know the joke well enough to tell it. So I apologize. But something like that.
There was a bunch of fun trivia that I found out about this. One was, hold on, let me get, when the wardrobe department was looking for a coat for Frank Morgan for, the Wizard and Professor Marvel, they wanted to look, kind of worn, and it's a nice coat, but kind of like moth-eaten and stuff. So they found one at a thrift store or something. And they discovered on the inside of it that it was actually made for who's the author? Frank Baum, which is the author of the book.
That's
The Wizard
so
of Oz.
cool.
Isn't that crazy? So then
It was meant
after
to
filming,
be.
yeah, super meant to be. And so then after filming, they presented it to Frank Baum's widow, who was like, "Yeah, this is his coat. Oh my gosh, this is so crazy. It's in the movie. That's totally insane." They had no idea.
That's nice. That's very nice.
My mom used to tell me, or maybe it was my grandma, that they colored the horses with Jello, and I was like, "You're lying, you're lying." And then I read they covered the horses with Jello.
Why
and
did
they had to
do
do it
that?
so they could
Because
color them.
It's not
Oh.
poisonous. It doesn't
Yeah.
hurt you at all. And you can
Oh,
wash
okay.
it out because it's like really water soluble.
But why did they
Mhm.
color the horses though?
Because the horse has many colors.
They're the horse
There's,
of a different color.
purple and-
Oh, I don't remember there being a horse in many
Yeah,
colors.
yes.
Oh, I need to rewatch
I mean, I think
this
there's only
movie.
like one color
Yeah.
change. But
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I do know
That's super
in
interesting.
Wicked, her name is Elphaba, and the
Mhm.
name is from L. Frank Baum. Who wrote the original book.
Oh, look at
Oh.
that. Look at
What?
that.
That shit is crazy.
I did love Wicked, and supposedly they are making a theatrical version of that. I don't know anything
They've been
else.
saying that for like
It's been
a
at least
decade.
it's been at least 10 years that
Come
they've
on,
been
like
saying that.
Idina Menzel, who was the original Elphaba on Broadway. Everybody
Yeah.
thinks she's amazing now because
Yeah.
apparently we didn't know who she was until Frozen.
Yeah.
So since she's like hot shit, why not just recast her? And
And
Yeah.
Kristen Chenoweth.
Yeah, what's she doing? I don't know.
Yeah.
She does
You
a
know
lot
what?
of television.
she
She
was
does.
on
She's
West
great.
Wing for like forever.
Yeah. I actually had the great fortune of seeing Wicked with original cast
Oh,
in
good for
2004 when I was
you.
14 years old. I was in New York for a Broadway camp, and
And
so all of us kids got tickets and saw, and it was the most incredible moving experience of my life.
Mhm.
And since then, I was like, I knew about Idina Menzel before Frozen,
Mhm.
you guys. So I've been in the know for decades before
mhm.
Frozen came out, just so everyone is aware.
That song gives me chills when she's
Defying
like,
Gravity?
yes.
Oh yeah!
Gravity,
Oh my god! When
guys.
she lifted up on that stage and her,
I'm getting
coat and
chills right
everything
now. You
extends,
just telling
and then,
me.
like everyone in the audience was like, like we could not believe what was happening. Our minds were blown by everything that was going on. So craziness, incredible, epic performances of our lifetime.
I can't
So that
wait.
was there. Yeah.
The Munchkins were only paid, the people that played the Munchkins were only paid $50 per day.
It's like being an extra.
And
today.
Toto,
Yeah.
Toto was paid $125 a day.
Yeah, Toto made the highest day rate.
Oh, Toto.
Judy Garland wanted to adopt the dog that played Toto, but she
Oh.
couldn't because he had an owner.
Yeah.
And he was like, no. But the dog continued to work for years in Hollywood. He didn't die. He only died
Because
like
he has
10 years
those
later.
contracts, with
Yeah.
this
He
time.
grew up to be the dog on Frasier. Did you know that?
That's right.
Wouldn't that be something?
It's not even funny because it's not the same kind of dog.
And then a lot of the people who portrayed the Munchkins in the film were actually foreign, and they took advantage of this trip to America to try and escape the Nazis. It said.
Wow.
So they were from a faraway land, and they're like, yeah,
So
I'll
that's
go to
good.
America.
I'll go to America and be in a faraway land.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Do you remember when you first saw this, Ashley?
Oh my God, no. I remember we had a VHS tape and it had all the commercials because it was taped off of television. It had like
Yes, it
JCPenney
was.
commercials. And
Yeah,
it didn't
that's
have
the
the whole
best.
first act where she's in Kansas.
Okay.
It just had her
Why?
waking up in Oz. And I was like, all right, I guess this is where the movie starts. And then I bought the DVD as a teenager and I was like, oh,
There's more to
expletive.
this.
There's like
Yeah.
a whole 30 extra minutes of this movie.
Oh, the people are the characters. Oh, I get
Right,
it.
like it makes sense at the end now. She's like, "Oh, but I think you were there," and you was like, "Why?" But
That's
also, when
so
you're
funny.
a kid, you don't realize that it's the same actor.
Right.
You
You,
know, so
don't.
you're
Right,
like,
I
oh,
didn't
but-
get that.
But
Yeah.
then you get a little older, and you're like, "Oh, but it's obviously Burt
Mhm.
Lahr because who else has that
Yes,
face?"
I
Yeah.
had that experience recently with the movie Peter Pan because the voice of
live-
Hook,
The live action one
Is
or
the dad.
no, the animated
Mhm.
one
Mhm.
is the dad.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
it's the same face and everything too.
That's the thing from the play is that it's supposed. Whenever you go to Neverland, it's supposed to be that child's version of Neverland. So Peter gets
Uh-huh.
Wendy, John, and Michael, and their version of Neverland, of course, cast Mr. Darling as Captain Hook, and the live
It
action
makes
movie.
so much sense.
Jason Isaacs plays both roles as well.
Nice.
But it's
I didn't
crazy
see
when you
that
figure
one.
that out. Oh, it's good.
Okay,
And
okay.
now they're going to be remaking it with the guy who did Peach Dragon.
Oh.
That's good.
Again, I feel like Peter Pan is like coming back. Keep coming back. Let's try it again.
Right, because that Pan movie worked out so well last
Yeah.
Oh
year.
my
Yeah.
God, that was so crazy. Can I just go off on a tangent about Pan for a second?
2 minutes.
For 2 minutes. This is all I get.
Go.
Now, you know I love me some crazy, fantastical, weird movies. Like I was very into Jupiter Ascending. I know
Mhm.
that the critics didn't like it, fans didn't like it, but I was like, this is so insane and stupid. I love it. And things like Vin Diesel's Last Witch Hunter, all that. I love that shit. Pan should have been amazing. I should have loved it. It's got Hugh Jackman dressed as like a pirate vampire, weird
Of
conquistador
Penzance.
looking and thing, and they're singing Smells Like Teen Spirit with a bunch of orphan boys in like a quarry. Like it
Wait,
should have
what?
been incredible.
I did not
but I was
know
so
that.
bored. It was there's randomly like modern day songs.
So it's
in
kind of
it.
like Moulin Rouge.
Yes.
But less well
But like
executed.
Okay,
not,
okay.
not as, it was so boring and not exciting at all. I should have loved it and I didn't. That's my tangent about
Huh,
Pan. Okay,
okay.
I'm gonna stop talking about
That
it.
was
Nice.
one whole minute.
Yeah.
Well done.
Okay. All right. Good. Good job, Stacy.
And isn't this like the most watched movie? We had both looked this up. This is like the most
Yeah.
watched movie ever because of the fact that like it's on television for
Uh-huh.
Thanksgiving.
It's been in syndication for probably almost 100 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Insane. This is the most watched movie, and then Rocky Horror Picture Show is the longest running theatrical movie
Release.
ever.
That's right. That's
So
right.
there you
That's
go.
Totally right.
Little
There you
bits
go.
of trivia. Back
Yeah.
to other shows that we've done. So let's move it to Brave, which came out June 22nd, 2012. I'm going to go ahead and read the synopsis for this because, we have a lot of gentlemen that watch the show. I'm not sure if they've seen Brave, but maybe they
Don't know
have.
if you have.
Maybe you have.
You should.
Anyways, it is about a girl who's determined to make her own path. Princess Merida defies a custom that brings chaos to her kingdom. Granted one wish, Merida must rely on her bravery and her archery skills to undo a beastly curse. Dun dun dun.
Whoa.
It's my favorite Pixar movie.
It
I
is.
just picked on my favorite movie.
Oh, I love it though. You know what? This is one of those ones that I didn't see until like it finally came out on not on Netflix, but on iTunes.
Mhm,
And I was like,
mhm.
oh, this is cute. I should get this for my kids.
Mhm.
And my daughter was, I was like, okay, I know a little bit about this movie. So I'm going to tell you that the mom's going to turn into a bear. And then she's like, okay, when does the mom turn into the bear? Like, and then it's like, is she
like,
going to
couldn't
turn
let
into
go
the
of
bear
it.
now? When is she turning into the bear?
She's like, F the rest of this. I want that bear.
That's right.
With
And
that
so,
scene.
That's
so she was
cute.
ready for that. But then it was kind of like, is anyone else going to turn into a bear? I was like, maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen it. And there were some other bears.
Little baby
Are.
brother bears.
Brother bears.
Baby brother bear. Oh,
They're
those
so
are the
cute.
cute little bears.
This movie had a ton of firsts. Like she was
Yeah.
the first princess to like have brothers.
Yeah.
What other things? First Pixar film set entirely in the historic past.
Mhm. First princess not to have a love interest.
Yeah, everyone wants to
Mhm.
thrust that onto Frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah, how
And I'm
dare
like,
they? This is the first one.
mm.
First Disney princess to not be based on any pre-existing character or historical figure. First Disney princess to have brothers, as we said. First teenage protagonist in a Pixar film, followed by Inside Out. First Disney princess to be represented from Pixar. First Disney princess film to not have musical elements, since Pixar movies don't generally have any musical elements. And those are all the firsts that I came up with.
Nice.
So that's
Very
kind of a
nice.
lot.
Yeah.
So breaking the ground.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
why
Break the
that's why
ground.
people didn't like it.
There was a lot of
Could be.
criticism of this film, and a lot of people were because she's a Pixar character, but then included in the Disney princess
Pantheon.
lineup, if you will. And then people were like, "Oh, Pixar, they're sellouts now because they have been bought by Disney, so they're just doing what Disney wants." And there's like all kinds of people getting into a big hoopla about this, and
But,
they need to chill.
But Pixar, fun fact, didn't make any money until they were bought by Disney.
Mhm.
They
Right.
were always in debt from the time they were created until Disney purchased them, which is why they've been able to do more projects more frequently post
Mhm.
that purchase. So you could say that's a sellout, but that's a solid business choice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
I do like that Kevin McKidd is in this film because he's one of my favorite actors in this. He was so happy to be on this project because he could use his actual like accent without having to do an American accent. If you haven't seen the show Journeyman, that's where I recognize him most from. He's the lead in Journeyman, and it was on NBC, I think, for 6-8 episodes, and I was so I wanted to cry when they were like, Journeyman is not going to be picked up, and I was like, wait a minute,
No.
this show is awesome.
Mhm.
Anyways, if you haven't seen that, that's something to look for. I don't know if you can find it,
It's a
but you
bonus
should
for
be
ya.
able to.
Mhm.
Yeah, but Kevin McKidd, I like that guy.
I can tell you, as a huge Harry Potter fan, I was so excited. So many people from the Harry Potter franchise are in this film.
Yes.
Kelly MacDonald, who, hello, Train Spotting, also Boardwalk Empire,
Yes.
incredibly beautiful, just gorgeous actress. So excited she was in this. Kelly MacDonald, Robbie Caltrain, Emma Thompson, and Julie Waters, all from Harry Potter, were also in this film. I thought that was super cool, and I was like, yes.
I was going to ask you, was Billy Connolly in
Harry
Harry Potter? He should be.
But he's the dad.
He's
He is.
great.
He
I
is.
like
he
him.
is. All the voices are
he's
so
a
fun.
crazy hippie.
I believe it.
Is he?
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
what kind of hippie stuff does he do?
He's got like long hair and he's all like granola and green and
Oh, like Chaka wearing.
yeah, he's
Nice.
cool, man. He wears sandals on the red carpet sometimes.
Cool. I'm into it. My dad would hate it. My dad hates men that wear sandals. He thinks
Mandals.
Mandals, yeah, he hates it. He's, a very traditional Southern guy, I guess, always wearing like his Sperry's or his New Balance tennis shoes or some loafers.
Mhm.
So yeah, any guy that wears sandals, he's like, ugh, feet. Like he doesn't like it at all.
This won an Oscar for Best Animated Feature. It was up against Frankenweenie, Paranorman, and Wreck-It Ralph. So, which I still haven't seen, and I
Ooh, Wreck-It Ralph's
apologize.
good.
Oh, you'll love it.
I
Mhm.
know.
It's
I,
so
on,
fun.
it's on the Amazon Prime for free.
what? Oh, I'm on it
Oh,
tonight then.
There you go.
Sweet. You know what I found out about Amazon Prime? Okay, aside from having Prime, so then you get access to some streaming movies. But if you rent from them, let's say for $2.99 or whatever, it's a 72-hour rental,
Yep.
which is much longer than the 24-hour rental that I get on iTunes. So iTunes, I think my business may be moving over because I did get the Amazon Fire, which I really like. Do you guys have the Amazon Fire? It's
No.
kind of like a Apple TV where you plug it into your television and then you can like access Netflix and other apps through it.
Nice.
Okay.
Yep. So there you go. That's my ad
Plug.
for Amazon,
Boom. There you go.
even though they're giving us no
Hashtag
money.
Sponsored.
But yeah, so Brave.
Yeah. Super cute.
The
Loved it.
best.
What was your
Incredible.
favorite part of Brave? Let's go through.
I
Let's go
really
through.
like the scene where the sun is rising and she doesn't know that her mom is going to turn back, and she's like, "No, I didn't mean to," and like you see like the humanity go out of her mom's eyes. I saw it with my mom in the cinema, and I was crying. My
Mhm.
mom is not an emotional person. She was like, "It's just a
Aw.
Having a moment. I think that scene is really, really powerful, and I like that it speaks to familial bonds as opposed to usually you see like the romantic bonds in a Disney or a Pixar movie. And I think it's just really cute. She's so cute. She has the prettiest hair.
She does. Wasn't it like 1,500 strands of hair for the animation?
Individually animated, yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
yes, and constantly have to have it like moving and it's blowing and it's gorgeous. And I mean, I'm a little partial to redheads in general, but I think that I loved her hair in the movie, and I loved the scene where, and it's the scene from the trailer where she's like, "I'll be shooting for my own hand," and then she tears off her dress, rips off the little head, and then it's just like, no, I'm a warrior goddess, and I will shoot this
Yes.
arrow. And I think it's great.
That's also Randall Sand's favorite part of the film as well.
Nice.
Thanks for sharing that with us, Randall.
Yes.
I really like when she goes back to the witch's cave or whatever, and the witch
Mhm.
isn't there, and then it's like this recording.
Yeah,
the
the
witch
messages,
is recording, because I think that's just hilarious.
There's in the things that she's carved, there's a little wooden Sully from Monsters Inc. in that scene.
There's also supposed to be a Pizza Planet truck somewhere in her area.
Yeah, because
That's all I know.
it
So
appears
funny.
in every Pixar movie.
Mhm.
right,
So
it
it's
has
in
to.
there.
Mhm.
There you go.
Yeah.
So far we have done Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. Then we went to fictional mythological worlds with Brave as well as The Wizard of Oz. And now we are going to branch off of The Wizard of Oz and Brave into other links. Ashley, would you like to go first? You're branching off of The Wizard of Oz, or we could go first with Brave.
Let's go first with Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
So what I picked was movies that have girls with powers in them.
Yes. We like that.
Based on the two witches. So the first one that I chose was Arsenic and Old Lace.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen that. It's a Cary Grant film. It's adapted. I don't have fancy paper notes. I have
That's all right.
lame millennial notes. So
I actually have not seen the movie, but I've seen the stage play.
Right, it's
So,
adapted directly from the
yes.
stage play,
Which is great. I love that they do like a Boris Karloff, like Frankenstein sort of homage to him in the movie or in the play, which I'm assuming they do in the movie as well.
They do. It was directed by Frank Capra, very famous director, Warner Bros. Pictures from 1944. The play came out in 1941. And it is a dark comedy where basically the character that Cary Grant plays goes home to visit his old aunties, and they go on a murder spree because they are witches and they're trying to protect their secret identities. So it's really, really funny. It really holds up for the 1940s, and because it's on film, it looks absolutely beautiful.
Cool.
I didn't remember that was why they were
killed
doing
like 3
it.
people.
They do.
They poisoned like an army guy.
Oh my
God! But they're
Mhm.
like really polite about it. They're like, come and sit down, and we'll get you
Have
something to eat. And,
tea.
Okay.
Yeah, a glass of
That's
wine.
okay then.
And they usually poison people with some arsenic.
Oh, that's why it's called Arsenic and Lace,
Yes.
I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
And there is a Marvel comic called The Runaways, and there is a character in that who has a pet dinosaur who names her Old Lace after Arsenic and Old Lace.
How cute is that?
So extra geeky.
What do they do with the bodies? They hide them in the basement?
Yeah, or the
forget.
closet. Like it's very like classic. Like, oh, what are we gonna do with this thing? And it's like one goes in the cellar, one goes in a closet or a cupboard, and
I should just boil them in a
sort of-
cauldron or something. I don't
You
know.
need a big ass cauldron, though.
I guess. Well, you could chop them up, I guess. I don't know.
I know.
I don't
for
know
the 1940s,
logistics.
you can make one. I don't know how do you make a cauldron.
Sure.
They've got to have been around by
Someone's
then.
gonna come and be like, "No, you're stupid. It's
Yeah.
really hard to make a cauldron."
Well, they're witches, right? I mean, how extensive are your powers?
Right, conjure one.
Yeah.
Or are they just like everyday witches? Like, oh, we don't really have many powers, but we, can do some stuff.
I don't know. The confines of the movie are not.
See, if I was a
not-
witch and I would have powers, that's the main thing I would use it for. It's just making things. Like I
Making
don't have time to
things?
go to the store to get a spatula. Just create one.
Okay.
Boom. There you go.
Okay.
Having people fall in love, and you don't need all that. Just have things appear. That's all I would do with my powers.
I think you would be more like the witch in Teen Witch, the lady that teaches the Teen Witch. you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
a great
create my
movie.
own money, and then you can buy all the clothes you want, anything.
You could just make the clothes.
Yeah, just have the clothes appear like that. She redecorates her house in Teen Witch. In one scene, it's all old and decrepit, and then in the next scene, it's like cool and modern on the inside. I would do stuff like that all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
If
Do it.
material possession is my main
Your main
goal
your
in
main goal.
life. So yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Yep.
I like it. And what is the other film that has powers?
My other film with girl with magical powers we already talked about is 2013's Frozen.
Yay!
Because I actually almost went with Teen Witch because I was gonna originally be like movies with witches in them. But if you think
Right?
about
Witch
it,
is
like
the
Elsa's
best.
kind of a witch.
She kind of is.
I know
She is,
witch
yeah.
has all these like negative connotations, but she's
Mhm.
like a female with powers that are
Mhm.
derivative from nature, and that is your
Yes.
basic definition of what
Yeah.
a witch is.
Yeah. Mhm.
So of course, in the I forgot what the name of the fictional country is. In the fictional country of something, that starts with
Arendelle.
Arendelle.
Arendelle. I know a
Um,
lot about this movie.
There you
Mhm.
go. Princess Idina Menzel has
Mm-hmm.
magical snow and freezing powers, and her parents tell her that she can't let them out because she accidentally hurts her sister, little Princess Kristen Bell.
Mhm.
So they get on a barge with their son, Prince Tarzan,
Mhm.
and they die. And then
Prince Tarzan. That's
Yeah.
right. Yes, that is how the universe goes.
Yeah, that is as
and
an
that's
actual
why
Easter egg.
Rapunzel is in there
She's
with
their
Flynn.
cousin, yeah.
Mhm.
And so then Princess Idina Menzel and Princess Kristen Bell grow up, and Princess Idina Menzel has to learn to be true to herself so that she can control her powers and save Princess Kristen Bell from evil Prince Broadway actor whose name I don't know.
Hans.
Yeah,
Hans.
he's
Prince
played
Hans.
by a really nice, really hot Latino guy. and I'm
Yes, I don't know his
sorry, I
name
don't
either.
remember what your name is.
But I love his voice.
Gorgeous.
It's
Yeah,
a great
the
voice.
best. Oh yeah, and then Prince Josh Gad is the snowman.
Yes.
Yes, I
He's
can't
awesome.
wait for him in Beauty and the Beast.
It's gonna be great.
Oh, I'm so
Although
excited for
I was
Beauty
a
and the Beast.
little disappointed that he's just LeFou or whatever.
LeFou,
Yeah,
it means the crazy one.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's not a lot
I
of
thought it
screen
was
time.
I thought it was the clock.
No, that's Ewan
No.
McGregor.
Oh.
Yeah, and then Ian McKellen is Lumiere.
Oh, that's right.
And then in
Mhm.
Frozen, John Groff does the voice of not Sven's owner. What's his name?
Kristoff, yes.
Kristoff.
I was gonna say Hans again, but that was definitely wrong. Kristoff,
Yeah.
and he played King George in Hamilton recently.
Oh,
so.
I need to see that
Oh.
Hamilton.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of Broadway connections in
I
Frozen.
love it.
And I like
love
that it gives you a chance to see that just because you have a magical power and you're in like a Disney movie doesn't always mean that you're the most capable. It's okay to learn and it's okay to be afraid.
Right.
And then, the romantic subplot is it's tampered down until that last scene, really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Everybody likes
Love-
Frozen. Come on.
yes.
Yeah, who's
and
with Frozen? No one's tired of
How
it.
can you
It's
not?
fine.
The
Yeah.
next one is going to be coming out. I don't know when, but I'm
Yes.
excited about that.
I saw
That's
the
still
short
going.
though. When
I liked the
saw-
short too.
Yeah.
That's Anna's birthday.
Mm.
And
Happy
she's- and
birthday.
Elsa's sneezing with all the little baby little snow things.
They're so
Yes.
cute.
Super adorable. Just
Little
bouncing
baby
around. Boop, boop,
snowmans.
boop.
I love the
Yeah.
honest trailer where it's like, what are her powers? Like making
Giving
people like
It's like-
giving life.
It's
Yeah.
just like being Scarlet Witch. Like we have no idea what your powers actually are or what the restrictions are on them.
Yeah,
Right.
we don't need to know. It's just it's magic. It's fine. It's fantasy, you guys. Come on. Now.
There you go.
Yeah,
Fantasy.
yeah. Don't have
Mhm.
to explain it.
Not in the
Oh, I like-
sci-fi realm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You know who we did Teen Witch with on this show? Jonathan London.
I didn't know
So
that.
there you
Yes.
go.
Yeah.
Mr. Geekscape is all.
That's right.
That's right. Hey,
so
Jonathan.
Hey,
funny, but like
Jonathan.
so not surprising at the same time.
Well, we picked it, and he had never
Yeah,
watched
yeah.
it, so we made him watch it.
Oh,
yes.
Teen Witch is an amazing, and there's also
good.
one of my favorite podcasts is How Did This Get Made, and they did an episode for Teen Witch specifically, and it's fascinating to see this movie. If you guys haven't watched Teen Witch and then listen to How Did This Get Made, and then listen to our not as good podcast episode about it, it's incredible because it's so like you can't even wrap your brain around all the weird stuff that happens in the movie, and it's such a just blurb of like they did that's crazy, and it's I can't even, I'm not even gonna go off about it, but it's
All right.
incredible. It's Teen Witch. Yeah.
So off of our movie, which is Brave, we did movies with redheads in,
Yeah.
in the lead.
all of the Harry Potter
Yes,
movies.
in the lead
Yes.
characters.
Weasley.
Stacy, you want to start with yours?
Sure. I mean, I did my favorite Disney movie of all time, which is The Little Mermaid. When I was a
So
young
good.
girl, I loved Ariel. I wanted to be the Little Mermaid. And as an adult who visits Disneyland at least a few times a year, I can tell you, I constantly go on the Little Mermaid ride. I will get very
It's a good one.
emotional and be like, this is my life. I always
This
look
is
at
my
the
life.
Disneyland like audition schedules to
Mhm.
see when I can audition for Ariel because I really want to play Little
Do you
Mermaid.
still do that?
I have kept an eye on it, yes.
Are
and
you
some-
tall enough? Or are you too
I
tall?
am.
You're probably
no,
too
I'm
tall.
too tall because they say they want someone that's like 5'10" 7 and I'm like 5'8", so
Yeah, they
I'm
won't
pushing
take
it.
ya.
But I have a tiny waist, so I have
Mhm.
I can just squat a little bit. I'm only an inch taller than what they say, and I've got
They
the
won't.
personality
They'll
for
still
it.
cut you.
No,
They want a reason to cut you. That's what it comes
that's
down
right.
to.
Oh,
Oh,
damn Disney and
Disney.
their standards, their unrealistic standards for beauty.
But you would be great.
I would.
I
would
want to
be a
see you
great-
interacting with children.
Oh my gosh, it would be amazing. I would be so enthusiastic, and my just wildly, expressive face and hands would just be all over the place. For those of you that don't know, the Mermaid Princess makes a Faustian
Faustian.
Yeah,
Faustian bargain
Faustian.
with an unscrupulous sea witch in order to meet a human prince on land. Came out the year before I was born, 89. It stars Jodie Benson, Renee
Auberginois.
Aubergine. Oh, there.
Star Trek
Very
connection.
nice,
I don't know,
yeah.
Deep
Oh,
Space
there we go.
Nine.
Patrick Stewart was originally supposed to be King Triton,
I
but
didn't
he
know that.
had a scheduling conflict with Next Generation, and so he couldn't do it. But that would have been an incredible King Triton. If it was Sir
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart's sexy, rich voice. Oh, it would have been incredible. The character of Ursula was based on drag performer and John Waters' regular Divine.
Yes, love that.
She is the best part of this movie. She's my favorite part.
Mhm.
Ursula is so terrifying, but so interesting. And her song "Poor Unfortunate Souls,"
So
That's
good.
great.
so good. And then all the little ad libs she has, and that like life's tough forever all around, honey, or whatever she says. Those were all the actor that, which was a man that did Ursula's voice, I believe. I think it's a man. I don't know. Hashtag
I'm not
fake
sure.
facts. I always make
I'm not sure about that.
but it might have been a woman with just a deep voice, but I feel like it said he in the IMDb trivia. So who knows?
Someone from chat will let us know. So
someone from chat
thank you.
will let us know,
Thank you,
please.
friends in chat.
And then Ariel was deliberately made a redhead because they wanted to separate her from Daryl Hannah's character in Splash,
Right.
which was a blonde. So, and you know that Part of Your World song was almost cut from the film.
I know.
The director
sad.
was like, it's boring. The kids were restless during it.
She was voiced by Pat Carroll, who is a lady.
Oh, okay.
There you
okay,
go.
Excuse
Fake
me.
facts.
Excuse me, guys. So sorry.
I think you're confusing it because Ursula is usually played by a man in the Disneyland and Disney World events.
Probably.
And so is Maleficent because they want someone really tall.
Interesting.
Oh, okay. Got you. That might have, I might have confused the trivia there.
I'm gonna get to see them when I go to Mickey's Halloween party.
Nice.
'Cause They bring the
Ooh.
villains out.
Oh,
I'm
that's the
excited,
best.
I'm
I'm
excited.
super jealous you're going to that. That sounds amazing.
I did like that Prince Eric is like 17 years old
Yeah,
when
is
he
the
voiced it.
hottest Disney prince, though.
he is. Oh,
He
he's like
is.
shirtless on the beach.
Yeah.
Forget about it. Mm, gorgeous. And they wanted to have Sebastian have a British
English,
accent,
yeah.
an English accent. Yeah. And so, but then someone suggested the actor that plays him. Hold on, let me look up the name. Hold on, let me not do fake facts anymore. It was the lyricist producer Howard Ashman who suggested he'd be Jamaican, and this opened the door to the calypso style numbers like Under the Sea, which obviously won the Academy Award.
Right.
So he
And
was like,
Kiss
no,
the
no, no.
Girls Kiss the Girl was also nominated.
Yep.
It was nominated,
But
but
Part of Your World wasn't, which
Yeah.
is kind of sad.
Yeah,
What-
but Under the Sea
what's
was
up?
good.
It's the best song.
I know.
Yeah. yeah, every time. Okay, so I saw The Little Mermaid was released for its like 25th anniversary at the Disney Studio lot. They like played it. And my friend who works for Disney brought me to that, and I was like so emotional during that screening. All the little kids were just like chilling. And I was like, the part in the they like I lost my shit because I was like, I never got to see it in theaters as a little girl because I was I
Mhm.
wasn't born when it came out, and so now as an adult loving the film, I finally got to see it on the big screen with this gorgeous animation restored and everything, and it's this moment, it's huge, and
Yeah.
I got the feels during
Yeah.
it. I was way too enthusiastic after the screening. I was like jumping around and leaping in the parking lot. Everyone was like,
Yes.
"Who is this girl?" And I was like, "Fucking Ariel, guys."
I love how they ended it in this version because the Hans Christian Andersen version is really sad and
Yeah.
bleak and
Mhm.
I'm just I hate saying like, oh, why'd they change the ending? But I'm glad they changed the ending because I would have been sad if it had ended in the same manner.
Well, they were originally going to do it with that ending because they were going to have a Little Mermaid movie in like 1943 originally, and then like with wartime
Right
and
after
everything
Snow
happening.
White.
Yeah, that's right. And so with the war happening and everything, Walt Disney was like, nah, you know what? We got to focus on other things. So he like shelved the project. But they were gonna do like the dark Hans Christian Anderson ending with it. What is the ending again? It's like
she gets turned into sea foam.
yeah,
because
yeah.
she sacrifices herself
yeah.
for him.
And when she turns into a human, they don't take her voice, they cut out her tongue, and every step she walks is like walking on glass.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like she pays a
right.
very high price to go meet Prince Eric.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. That'd be super dark for a
Mhm.
children's film. I can't believe they even contemplated keeping the original ending. I would love to see that ending though. It's kind of like Wicked, where let's do like the real version of what the book would have been. So I think that'd be
I
great.
wonder if the live action will go that way.
I don't
Who
know.
knows?
I don't think so. I think they're just like straight up remakes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's all right. I'm cool.
I'm still very curious about what the live action version of The Little Mermaid
Yeah.
is going to look. I don't know how they're going to do it or how it's going to look with the water.
Well, that's one of
and-
the things. Like the Broadway version tanked because they couldn't do the underwater effects very well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it'll be interesting. Is that Sofia Coppola, or was that
Yeah,
just a rumor?
It
or
was,
she...
but I think she
it's
dropped it.
Oh,
Okay.
really? Interesting.
Yeah, it was
Fake
Coppola.
facts.
Hashtag fake facts. That's right.
So on to our next film, which has a delightful redheaded lead. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Oh,
from June
nice.
22nd, 1988.
Nice pull.
Now I revisited this because I had not seen it since pretty much probably 1988 when I was 7-ish years old. Maybe I saw it a little later too, maybe at like 10 or whatever. But I was surprised at how much it holds up,
It
like
looks
how great it
great.
is. I don't know. I was shocked.
It's that cellular animation. It's
I
film.
know.
It looks amazing.
And yeah, Jessica Rabbit is obviously the best. Stacey has a little outfit that is Jessica Rabbit, so
I
good for you,
I
girl.
was her for Halloween this past year.
Nice.
I had the gloves, I had the dress with the slit up to here. I don't really have the boobs, but what are you gonna do?
You gotta
know.
work with what you got.
Work with what you got. That's right. And she's one of the sexiest women to ever be on screen, and she's not even a real woman.
She's definitely not a real
Do you
woman.
know who she's based on?
No. Who
She's
is it?
based on Veronica Lake, who was an actress in the
yes.
silent film era, who was really popular. And then when they got into talkies, she got a lot less popular,
Oh.
which probably speaks to her acting ability. But she's in a really good talkie movie called Sullivan's Travels, and that's where she has like the wave in front of her face.
Oh.
But she's like Alyssa Milano inspired Ariel. Like she's the composite for who Jessica Rabbit is.
Got you. And Kathleen Turner did the voice for it, and someone else did the singing.
Right. I think it's interesting though that Kathleen Turner is actually uncredited. Why
Yeah.
is that?
Boo.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's
Because
the
Kathleen Turner
deal?
is, come on, she's
It's a
Kathleen
big deal.
Turner. Yeah, and this is the 80s, so Romancing the Stone and Body
Mhm.
Heat, like she was a big thing. So this whole movie, the whole concept of it is crazy to think about. Like I can't believe they were like, oh yeah, let's
Pretty
let's-
adult themes.
Yeah, very
for
adult
what
themes.
might be. It's like a PG film, I believe. So
right, which is like it's definitely not a kids movie.
no. So even though it's PG,
You have like
gotta
people
watch
being
it.
dipped, basically cartoons being dipped in acid and like
Right.
eaten alive by chemicals, and you've got
Mhm.
like Jessica Rabbit super like sexy and like playing patty cake, and there's it's very very like
Mhm.
sexual innuendos and all
I
kinds of
love
crazy
how
stuff.
it is that they're going to get rid of Toontown because they want to make room for like a freeway or like condos or something.
Yeah.
But then the same thing with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. They're going to get rid of Earth because they need to get way make way for a space freeway or something like that. And it's just like, yeah, there it is. There's the connection.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hitchhiker's
And
Guide
I
to the
love that
Galaxy.
it's like everyone thinks that the whole idea of a freeway and a pit stop and like
Mhm.
shopping centers and everything, outlet malls, is like the most ridiculous idea ever. And I was like, no, that's what our modern day world is. That's all we live for are freeways. And
It's like that is it the Amy Grant song? Pave Paradise, put up a parking lot?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Is that
yeah.
Amy Grant? I don't know. It might
This
not be.
I think a lot of
This is
people
what we do
covered
now.
that too.
Yeah, definitely a ton of covers of that film or of that song.
Of that film.
Hey, it could be a film. Tim Curry auditioned for the role of Judge Doom and gave a performance that Robert Zemeckis, Steven Spielberg, and Jeffrey Katzenberg and Michael Eisner found quite terrifying, which is why he didn't get the role. I'm like, that's interesting.
think
I
that
thought Christopher Lloyd
awesome.
was
Yeah.
great. I loved Tim Curry though. And I also loved this video game on Nintendo I played it often and I could never beat it. I would get to the end where you go up against Judge Doom and I just could never beat him. So I just don't know what happens after you beat him. So I'm sure I could look it up on YouTube and like find a video where someone does a let's play of it and then and then I can find out what happens.
That's so funny.
Maybe I'll do that after this this episode, but yeah. So
I never played the game. What do you do in the game?
you can go all over Toontown. You're basically just looking for Judge Doom and you have to do all these little like it's side scroller, so you have to do all these little like
Jumping
tasks.
over and beating
Oh,
up
yeah.
stuff. And
Okay, gotcha.
I've had a lot of video games that were based on movies or television shows. So I had the Rescue Rangers video game. I had the DuckTales video game. I love
That's a
that
good game.
one. That was a good one.
DuckTales.
I had the
Ooh,
American
doo-doo.
Gladiators video game. Also great. That one's great. Anyways, sorry. I'm a nostalgia gamer. I'm not an actual gamer anymore, but nostalgia gamer.
you just
I-
outed yourself in front of the internet.
Sorry, I'm going to get the new like Nintendo that's coming out in November that's like stacked with 30, 40 games that's already like on it. I'm totally getting that. I'm going to play
Okay.
that.
All right.
Start
We
a
should
Twitch
have
channel.
we should have a nice little streaming of us just trying to figure out how to play video. Because I don't know, and every time I try, I'm like, "Oh, this is hard. What do you push again for the thing?
Mhm,
How do you make it jump?" It's very frustrating. But I would do it and eat some hot Cheetos while I do it and just chat. Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
Cool.
So there it is. I'm
There
sure
it
there's
is.
plenty of it. I know that the movie was made by Disney, and Warner Brothers had to allowed them to use Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and things like that. But they needed to have the same amount of screen time as any other Disney characters. So the way that they did that is they always paired a Disney character with a Warner Brothers character in a scene.
Mhm.
So that's why Donald and Daffy are doing the dueling pianos.
Mhm.
You see Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse together when they're like falling from the sky with Eddie Valiant. And things like that. I was surprised that I like Bob Hoskins because he's kind of gruff looking and not a very
He's great in this movie.
He's so
not very
good.
and
easy
his
on the
little
eyes.
dancing
But yeah, he was
scene.
really
I'm
good.
like, I want Bob Hoskins to be dancing in more things. And then you think of him as what's his name? Smeeth
Yep.
in
yeah.
Hook
Hook.
and all kinds of he's a fun like performer guy. He's not like this gruff, like he is
Mhm.
gruff and he is like hairy and everything. His scene where he's shirtless, I'm like, ooh, Bob Hoskins is hairy.
Yeah, it was the 80s. though.
Everywhere. This is true. This is true. Men, we liked our men with a little hair in their chest. I still do. I don't mind a little hair on a guy's chest. I like it actually.
The 3 ingredients for the dip that kills the tunes are turpentine, benzene, and acetone, which are all paint thinners used to remove animation from cells. There you
Ooh, Very
go.
meta. I like that a lot.
Yeah,
It
That's
is.
very clever.
And this had a budget of 70 million, which at the time was the most expensive film produced in the 1980s and had the longest on-screen credits for a film.
Until Return of the King came along.
There you go.
There you go.
So there it is.
there it is.
We went from The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King to mythological worlds with The Wizard of Oz as well as Brave off of The Wizard of Oz. We had not witches, but
Girls with powers.
Yeah.
We went to Arsenic and Old Lace and Frozen.
and off of Brave, we went to Redheaded Leads in Films.
Mhm.
And we did Who Framed Roger Rabbit and
The Little Mermaid.
so there you have it. There's our films for today.
Oh my goodness.
We're gonna
so
move
fun.
over to movie link tweets. I tweeted out what's your favorite movie with a mythological that takes place in a mythological world. So here's what I got back. Stephen Malofsky says Dark Crystal, The Neverending Story, and Dragon Slayer. Brian Hurst says Pan's Labyrinth and Hellboy 2. Hey,
Oh,
Stacey.
Yeah,
Guillermo
Hellboy to the
del
Golden
Toro.
Army.
Nice.
My favorite comic book film. One of.
Gabrielle Gonzalez says, does Harry Potter count? It does.
Yes.
So there you go. Randall Sands, oh, it has to be Stargate. Hey, and you're in the chat today. So hey, Randall. And you can't go wrong with James Spader and Kurt Russell. Kevin says Wall Street. I don't know about that, but hey, we'll go with it. Hector Navarro, John Carter, and Travis Board says The 13th Warrior.
Ooh, that's a great movie.
I
So there
haven't
you
seen
go.
that one.
And now we're at Kevin Bacon.
Now, we always link this back to Kevin Bacon because, of course, Kevin Bacon inspired the 6 Degrees of Game. So, Kevin Bacon was in Whitewater Summer with Sean Astin, who was in Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. What's Whitewater Summer?
I don't know.
I've
Oh,
never
I don't
heard
know
of
how that is.
that.
Never
It's
heard
funny.
of it.
I was trying to think of it, and I was trying to connect to Lonesome Dove because like everyone
Uh-huh.
is in Lonesome Dove.
Right.
That's true. That's another movie I haven't seen is Lonesome Dove.
It's like a miniseries, like three.
Mm-hmm. It's
Oh.
television.
So it's like a season of Sherlock. They're only they're like an hour and a half, but there's 3 installments.
Okay,
good.
got you. Cool. Good to know. I'm gonna watch it someday.
Also on Amazon.
Well, then I'm gonna buy it. Then I'll rent it for 72
Just 2
hours.
hours.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. That's just enough time to watch it.
Nice.
Okay, so now we get to the point of our show where we are gonna ask: is Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King better with Rocky?
It is.
It is.
I'm gonna
I
say
do-
yes.
I do a terrible Rocky Sylvester Stallone impression. So here it is: Sylvester Stallone as Rocky, as Gollum in Return of the King. They cursed us. Murderers, they called us. They cursed us and drove us away. And we wept, Precious. We wept so alone.
No, say Adrian instead of Precious.
Oh, we wept, Adrian. We wept so alone. We only wished to catch fish so juicy and sweet. And we forgot the taste of bread, the sound of trees, the softness of the wind. Yo, we even forgot our own name, Adrian.
That
was
might
the
be my
last-
favorite.
Stupidly
That was-
funny. Oh my god.
Oh, you should have seen me or heard me do my Rocky in the Color Purple, the
Oh,
Oprah Winfrey.
mhm.
I
All
have.
my life I had to fight. Oh, it's perfect. It is the best. Oh my goodness. Okay, where can we find you on Twitter, Miss Movies?
Me?
AKA yeah.
You can find me obsessing about painter's tape and on Twitter at Miss Movies. That's where I obsess about it. Yeah,
Awesome.
I couldn't find it this morning, so I had to use
Aw.
duct tape, which is not a good alternative for painter's tape. I'll have you know.
Oh, does it not come off as easy?
We'll see the
It's
effects
like
of that later.
Literally the antithesis.
Exactly. But it's doing the job.
Okay.
So, hey,
Okay.
Ashley, thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
Thanks for having
Ew.
me. This was super fun.
Where can we
Yeah.
find you and how can we support you and all your fun projects?
Oh my God, all over the internet. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Ashley V Robinson. I'm on Facebook.com/Ash Victoria Robinson. I co-host the Geek History Lesson podcast with Jason Inman, which you can find at geekhistorylesson.com. You can support at patreon.com/Jawin, JAWIIN. Every other week, I am a panelist on Collider Heroes, and a bunch of other stuff, but those are the main places.
Nice.
Awesome. You
Yeah.
can find me on Twitter at SOHoward2012 and Instagram at StacyOHoward. Just tweeting about movies constantly, all the time. Live tweeting.
There it is.
Nice.
Mhm.
There
Yeah,
it is.
there we go.
I also want to thank Roger Barr for our lovely poster behind us today.
Yes,
It's one of
thanks,
his.
Roger.
It's one of his. There it is.
Awesome,
There's duct tape
awesome.
behind here. All right. Anyways, thank you all for joining us today. Thank you for joining us in the live chat, all of our friends, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.